Hello, and welcome to your daily oracle reading for Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. I'm Linda the Lightworker. I'm an energy worker and a light worker, and I hold spiritual conversations. I also do spiritual readings. So if you're interested in a different kind of tarot experience, then you're in the right place. I like to focus on our personal growth and our experience. So that we can keep evolving every day, doing our best to stay in the present moment, especially if you're living a life of recovery. And I'm telling you, everyone has something to recover from. So if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. All that info about me is down below in that little dibbly-doo box. LindaTheLightWorker.com is my website. Or you can email me directly, LindaTheLightWorker@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can, I promise. All right, my dear, let's jump into our general reading. This is for everyone, and I really advise you to just take what you need and leave the rest. You know, sometimes, I'm just adjusting my lighting, sometimes specific information will come out that doesn't pertain to you at all, and that's okay. Just let it go and just keep listening, because there's something. I know there's a nugget for everyone. I don't know why I say half the things I do except for you. So stay tuned for that. I'm working with the wonderful Gregory Scott. I'm having issues with my lighting. I'll try. Do you see that? It turns into a strobe light. This is the Gregory Scott tarot deck. And it's wonderful, and all the info about that is down below. If you're new to tarot, I really recommend you try it. It's a great deck. It's so wonderful. He's so clear, so precise. I just adore him. All right, let's jump in. General reading. Our first card today is a hot ginger. We've got the Knight of Wands, and look at this cutie. Oh my gosh, Mr. Abs. He is out here. He is chopping wood. And you know why he's doing that? This is about taking that I'm dyslexic. Haven't I told you that? So sometimes some words get jumbled in my head. But decisive, he's very clear. He is working something out in his head. And to do it, he's just going to chop this whole bunch of wood. Because one, winter's coming. He needs to prepare for it. Two, it's a creative outlet. But three, it's a great way to work through what kind of thoughts are coming up from you. So everybody's going through something right now. This insane period we're going through has been an invitation for us to go deeper in our progress, in our processing our own stuff. So you might be grieving. There might be some loss that you're processing, and a great way to do it is to just work it out in your head. I'm getting an image of Albert Einstein working in the patent office. I know, right? Of course I do. This turns me on. This makes me think of Einstein, right? So, and why is that important? Because by having a job that was a bureaucratic sort of task that was quite honestly mindless once you knew the procedure, it was the same steps over and over again to file it, then his mind was able to explore possibilities, concepts, other realities, science, whatever. It was free because it had become a rote task. So maybe today's the day. Yeah, you might need to chop some wood or prepare for winter, or do some canning, some sort of activity that helps you prepare for the coming times, but allow this energy, this rote task, to lead you to working out that stuff that's going on in your head. Look, this guy is not just thinking about splitting that wood. He's got something else on his mind. And the amount of energy he puts in it, maybe he's angry about this death. Maybe he's grieving this loss of something. I don't know. What is the loss that's coming up from you? Is it the loss of, for my friends and loved ones here in the United States, a loss of having a sense of unity or hope? But come into your life, look at it, go personal for you. And see if you are able to shift that energy, especially if you're grieving, from identifying with the grief to just one step out of it, so that you're able to observe the grief. I'm really hearing grief is the big issue out there for a lot of people on many sides. So that's what the invitation is today, is to take that old drama or trauma that might have been an old pain. It's about processing that. And sometimes when we're able to just do this physical thing, we're able to hit that, is it a gamma wave? I forget all my Greek. I know some Greek, but I love it when I'm in the theta wave. That's what the meditation does for me. I can get there pretty fast. But, like getting to that energy where we're able to just be in the zone. This guy is well, look at those. Man, he's chopped enough wood to be in his zone. But moving that energy so you can process what's happening in your head. Even though this is a wand, so that's creative action, right? With the Knight of Wands is creative action, but it feels very, very related to what's happening inside the head. So just for the Geminis to really pay attention. Geminis, Leos, I'm getting the water signs in there too, paying attention. Pisceans. Anyway, all of you. All air signs, all fire signs, all water signs, earth signs too. Yeah. All right. Spirit's playing with me today. Very funny. All right. Our second card today is the Queen of Wands again. And when things come in this sequential order, so here's what the message I'm getting. Like, it's move this grief, move this whatever energy out in a way that you're able to remove yourself from it so you can look at it objectively. And then she's the queen, right? And look at her, take her bow for a performance well done. So this is about a creative outlet, right? So let's talk about trauma. Let's say you have an old wound, or you're grieving a loss, or a parent or a loved one has passed, or a freedom of some sort, or you're missing working, whatever. Let's say you're grieving right now and you're moving this energy. If you're able to extract it and go into what the pain of that was, right? The pain body, then there's this process that's called psycho, right? Like psychoanalysis, drama, DRAMA, where it's a technique where people, trained professionals, are able to come in. Let's say you have a story about your childhood, and say you had an overbearing parent who was highly critical. So you're able to go into this trained setting and tell your story of your pain body, and then have people around you play the roles of each person in your family. What did your sister do when that happened? What did your father do? And have each person play a member of the family, and then act it out, like retell the story. Somebody else would portray you and you would portray. Anyway, it's a way of processing that old family of origin drama in a new way. Boy, that's a long explanation, but the invitation here is to look at what this is, and then to be able to move it in a way that can appear as a performance, and know that any work that you do in your personal growth, in your pain body, like we all have. Some people, was it Jung? I think it was Carl Jung who was like saying from the moment of birth, we're in trauma, right? Because like the Western way is they pull you out and then they slap you on the butt. And it's like, well, welcome to the world. Here's a slap in the face. That whole process can be perceived as trauma. So when I see these portraits on the wall here, these landscapes, it tells me of like the dynamic of the relationship. What was the relationship in your family? And perhaps you need to act it out, or act out, perform a new way that you would behave if you're in this situation again. And this is all relating to grief. So just remember that all of this personal work that you do, the inner growth work that you do, pays off in the long run, because everything that's happening right now all around us, the income insecurity, the COVID, the economy being all, the working, the crazy that is happening, the election that's coming, the president is blah, blah, blah. Like there is so much happening. How can we stay grounded? How are you able to stay grounded so that you're able to recognize your stuff and where your personal growth is. So the invitation is for you. That's what this work is so important. It's inner work. It is physical work. It's doing the same. You know, I love, I don't know if you know, I'm a classically trained chef, right? I have a huge culinary background, kind of, that I don't really talk about. But when I'm able to work in the kitchen and do a task that's a real repetitive sort of, it's one of the reasons why I love the kitchen so much. There's so many things that I just get into that zone where I'm able to zone out and be in that creative process. Inspiration comes. And then recognize your work and celebrate your work and take your bow. Take your credit for the work that you've done. Oh boy, Spirit. All right. Okay, so our final tarot card today is the Six of Swords. So this means we're not through this nightmare yet. We're still in this murky sort of situation. We're not in clear waters. Now we do have a full moon that this guy is. He's in a boat and he's got his swords at his side, but he's using his oar to beat off these demons. And you see where they come from, all directions. So when we are in unclear times like we are right now, the first stuff that's going to come up for you is your own crap, right? We can say, oh, this is the president and this is the COVID and this is, you can identify all these things, but the reality is how you're responding is about you, how you're feeling inside. So take that opportunity to go deeper and see, what is this beast up here that makes me so afraid? If you're able to identify why you're feeling afraid, when we are in murky waters and we can't make plans, the first response is programmed into our bodies, fight or flight sort of thing. This guy's trying to flee, and yet he's surrounded by his fears. So just be aware that you might be triggered with more stuff. Look at this guy. Look at this demon with those, are those back muscles? I mean, I can't even tell what that guy is. Work it out. Just keep focused on your task and move that energy through. Look, this guy could be paddling a little bit, but he's too much in his thoughts. This is a swords. So this is what's going to happen in your head. Just notice what's coming up for you. And I'm sorry, it's not clear yet, but this is about you mending your heart. That's what I'm getting. It's about really, oh my gosh, I've mentioned it before, like that thing they do in the pottery of filling those cracks where our heart has been broken with gold, like really restoring ourselves back to whole. And that's the invitation. It might be a little tricky. Turn off the news. Turn off any outside world that makes you feel crazy. You might have a lot of old fears coming up. It's all going to work out. Because our final card today comes from the lovely Denise Linn, Sacred Travelers. I think somebody asked, yes, this is a 52 card deck, answering the call. And Spirit says, the time is now. You know, well, if you can get away, if there's somewhere to run to, boy, I'd like to run. I love being where I am, and I like also going. But what does that mean? The time is now. Answering the call. This is the first card in this deck. And so it's about taking that journey of asking, of just being able to follow your gut intuition and to keep moving forward and to keep doing your work, keep doing your inner work. You know, as soon as I ever go to a point where I want to blame someone else, right, that means it's time to turn that finger around and to look at myself and see what can I work on so that I'm not blaming or misusing my energy towards someone else. So when we answer the call, that means we are tapped in to Spirit, God, the universe, all of those energies that we use, right? Whatever word you use to identify your spiritual practice. But being in that meditative state of not having an abundance of, I call it the monkey mind, right? A lot of Western, a lot of cultures call it that, or I think of the kitty with the ball back and forth, like the ping pong effect of really being grounded and knowing what your next piece, your next step will come. But you'll know the time is now, especially if you need to heal this old pain. Grief is what I'm hearing. People are grieving the now times because this isn't over yet. We're still in the in-between time. I know I say I'm going really long today, you guys. But listen, it was a big message. It needed to come out. There's a lot of pain that needs to... We have to mend those hearts. And we have to start with our own first. And the more inner work we do for ourselves, and I'm not talking about this being an all-day process, but the more you're able to feed yourself, do your work, recognize where your pain body lives, and then heal yourself with love and through good nutrition and gentle movement and breath work and, you know, all of those wonderful positive traits, then we're able to be of more service to the world, be light beings for others, and to help bring compassion. Oh my gosh, I mean, we're going through so much. All right, my dear, that's our reading for today. If you're one of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here. I love our tiny community. We're almost at 300. I really appreciate you being here. You know, my matrix say that I think 52% of you are not subscribers. So if you want to hit that little button, that'd be great. All right, my dear, I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.